I'm going to kick things off with Elvis. Yes, this was a show that, well, I mentioned it before, like I should say, like in a couple episodes, in where you actually was there too, Ashton, where I was kind of iffy about it, about spending money to see it in theaters, but I waited till it came out digitally and it actually showed up way sooner than I expected, right? So yeah, literally, I checked this out about, well, finished wrapping it up, I should say, about a 50 minutes before meeting you guys here, right? So I'm just going off of first impressions, but I had enough time to really, well, I should say, I give myself as much time as possible to really make a real opinion on it, right? So, Elvis, in a nutshell, this is the newest film from Baz Luhrmann, right? This is, I mean, if you're familiar with like 90s and 2000s, films, yeah, you should know who this guy is. Australian filmmaker, and actor. Although I haven't seen him in anything to be honest. But he shot the fame. Well, as you see, for us, Gen Xers, with 96's William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, right? That was like our official introduction to him. Some people would say Strictly Ballroom, but I never saw Strictly Ballroom. I just knew him through Romeo and Juliet, right? Not the biggest fan of that movie, but I saw why that was such a hit back in '96, right? To this day, it still amuses me that they get away with having these actors, as in Leonardo DiCaprio, Claire Danes, among others, like literally talking full Shakespearean. Like that just blows my mind. And you tell me this, the MTV generation pretty much understood a single word they were saying. I don't know, right? But whatever. In the early 2000s, he had stuff like Moulin Rouge, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. I mean, like, I dug what it was about, but wasn't the biggest fan of it, right? But why I'm bringing up these two films here is that well, this film here, Elvis kind of alludes to those films in a sense. Because if there's one thing about Baz, right? He loves style, like visual style. It is just all in your face. It's just a bunch of swirling camera angles and flashing lights and neon and all that kind of stuff. He's about that. He's about that shit, right? But when things kind of hit, when shit hits the fan, literally, things can get pretty tragic though. And like that really surprised me with Moulin Rouge. I was actually surprised at how the film actually ended on such a tragic note, right? Well, Romeo and Juliet was obvious, but Moulin Rouge, right? And this is coming from somebody who generally don't like seeing musicals that end on a tragic note, right? But yeah, here is pretty much, well, is about Elvis Presley, right? Technically the rise and fall of him, right? But the way how they frame this film here is that they center it kind of on the character, or I should say the real life person of Colonel Tom Parker, right? Which is actually Elvis's manager, right? He is played by Tom Hanks of all people. And, I'll talk about Tom Hanks's performance in a bit, right? And what it is with this show here, yeah, just pretty much seeing Elvis's rise to fame, how he pretty much did draw inspiration from black gospel and soul music, and channel it into rock music, pretty much rock and pop music, and that's where he pretty much skyrocketed in the Billboard charts and whatnot. You see how people didn't take to his movements, right? Especially when he's on stage with the trusting and of his pelvis and all that kind of stuff, right? There's a lot of people, a lot of conservatives at the time who were like, no, we don't like that, right? Then even worse, there was a lot of racist people who just didn't like the fact that this white man now was taking black music and making it big, and all that kind of stuff, right? But in while all this is going on, you have Tom now, who right off the bat is pretty much established to be a charlatan. He's a con man essentially, right? That's what he is, right? And he just saw this opportunity in this young kid, this young white kid who just loved black music, and yeah, his career just pretty much skyrocketed from that, right? And then from now, well, from the midpoint now of the film now, that's where he pretty much, well, his career kind of tanked basically, like right after he went to serve in the military for about a couple of years, right? And yeah, well, from there when he came back to the States, he went to Hollywood and he signed a bunch of films, but I think a majority of them flopped, or I should say half of them flopped. And then, his career was at rock bottom. And then it was like, all right, well, let's just put him in Vegas. And then he became a star in Vegas. But then some shenanigans took place there. Well, essentially what happens is that because Tom was on shit, literally, he was on shit, right? He did not want Elvis to tour outside of the States. So he pretty much just had him just doing this grueling nationwide tour for about 4 years. And it was to the point that, yeah, it was just about paying debts and whatnot, right? So when Elvis found out about all that stuff, it was just like, no, I don't want you to be my manager again. And then, well, from there, it was just this meteoric fall from grace, basically, for Mr. Presley. And I'll stop here, right? So getting the good out of the way, right? Because there is good in this, right? A lot of people was talking about Austin Butler, right? The guy who plays Elvis. They was real like hyping him up, like, all right, like this guy is going to be nominated for an Oscar, right? For Best Actor for playing Elvis, right? I will say for the most part, he is good. He is really good. He nails the accent, or I should say the voice down of Elvis, the movements. He even gets some moments to shine as far as on stage performances and whatnot, right? Now the main criticism a lot of people will have with this movie is Tom Hanks, right? Like the moment that I heard this accent, I was like, what the hell is this? Because this kind of weird European accent he has. I'm not gonna say what country Tom Parker is actually from, right? Because they had to reveal where he's from, right? But yeah, it was a kind of weird kind of accent this man has now. Now I have mad respect for Tom Hanks, right? So one of the greatest actors living, right? And like when it comes to like I think in a few months he's gonna be in a Pinocchio movie, I believe it is, and he has like a similar kind of accent. This kind of like I'm gonna talk like this, but it's meant to sound like the old man who's just telling you stories, and I'm a
Well,
little particular, with my
the
voice,
guy,
but you can trust me. It's that.
yeah, the guy was kind of like the Tommy Wiseau of his time,
Oh, the
Yeah,
real Tom Parker.
yeah, he was kind of
Okay.
like he was just a fraud, like a kind of a bullshitter, and again lying about where he come from, but making it come across like if he American for some reason. And
Yeah, yeah.
again, I know the real story, but I haven't seen the movie. But so
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
like what Tommy Wiseau is, like Tommy Wiseau is like totally erased his own history for years, and people had to dig up and figure him out. Is
Right,
that
right, right.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, for me going in, I didn't even know about Tom Parker, to be honest, right? Like that's the thing with me, right? Like and I'll kind of lead into my thoughts on it during the negative stuff, right? Yeah. So I just kind of went in just kind of expecting to see what their relationship is, right? And it makes sense actually. Yeah, the man just pretty much like exploited him. He really exploited him throughout his career, man. And I won't lie, it's tough to watch though. It's tough to really grasp the fact that yes, say what you want about Elvis, right? You could call him a cultural appropriator all you want, but the man had raw talent, right? And he really put himself out there, right? He really put his heart and soul into this music, right? And it's a shame that this guy, this Tom Parker, pretty much just bled him dry. You know what I mean? That's real messed up though. So, and the show like brilliantly conveys that, right? The supporting actors are solid for the most part. Although I didn't really recognize half of them. The only person I really noticed was Cody Smith McPhee. Last time I saw him was in Power of the Dog, right? So he was one of the one of these musicians who was working with Elvis before he blew up, right? Also as far as visuals, I mean, like visually, it is very very sleek looking and whatnot, right? There's a lot of like energy and vibrance to what you see on screen, right? And yeah, I mean, you get the hits. I mean, you pretty much get like a laundry list of Elvis hits that peppered throughout the show, right? So yeah, you could tell that Baz really went out of his way, sorry, to pay tribute to this man, right? That being said, though, I kind of have some negatives for this, right? And just to get this out of the way as well, too, right? This is kind of a weird show for me, boy, because like I would say the first half, I was heating this show. I was flat out heating it, right? I thought this was like garbage, like just like a dumpster fire of a biopic. Like I would say like all eyes on me level bad hus, you know what I mean? But I just could not care for anything in this first half thread. And then like for some reason halfway now when like his career literally fell well when his career actually like took a nosedive, that was when he was standing those forgettable movies. That's when he showed this like started click with me for some odd reason, and I was like, yeah, I digging this. I really like digging into what going on. And the reason for that, unfortunately, is Baz Luhrmann. Like one thing, this man is like indulged like a motherfucker, boy. Like the first half is just style, stuffed down your throat, man. It's the point that it was just so goddamn unbearable, Dread. Like he would show you like three events taking place and trying to compare the two. Sometimes he would take like Elvis vocals. Him out. He would take Elvis vocals, right? And then he would just kind of add some kind of dramatic music to it in the background, and then out of nowhere he would just add like hip hop to it because he's trying to show that Elvis is so influential, right? this man influenced hip hop. Now I don't know everything about Elvis, right? But let's let you all know one time. Yes, he influenced rock. Yes, he influenced R&B. Yes, he influenced pop music. He did not influence hip hop. He did not influence hip hop. In no way do I see anybody in the rap game right now who could say, "Yeah, I just draw my inspiration from Elvis," right? I mean, yes, Eminem said a few words about him, and even Eminem have a song on this called "The King and I" on the soundtrack itself. It plays at the end with CeeLo Green. It's a dope song. It's a dope song, right? And he even goes out of his way to talk about, well, yeah, this is why I am similar to him because I'm a white artist and I pretty much use black music to get rich. Sorry, that's the truth. You know what I mean? So he goes along that way, but he still shows respect to Elvis, even though he kind of mock him on the "Without Me" song from the Eminem show, right? But that's neither here nor there, right? But yeah, this decision to kind of make it hip hop wise, and it's essentially the moment where you will see Elvis go into like these black areas, like in Mississippi and whatnot, right? And he's like linking up with BB King and other black musical artists. Now you play like some hip hop stuff, and you hear like a rap in the background. Like, what the hell is this? Like, none of this have anything to do with the story, right? So in a nutshell, it's like the first half is like just meant to be for Gen Zers, for like real ADHD kind of shit, though. Like the way how quickly it's edited, how quickly it just kind of glosses over certain issues and dates in his career and whatnot. It was just like I don't know, like dude was on like Baz was like on Adderall or something like that, right? It just powers through everything so quickly, and while throughout this first half, it's like you just don't care. It's just like I'm just watching a bunch of visuals, watching a bunch of half of a performance. You don't even see the full thing, and it's not enough to give you a reason to care about Elvis, right? And then the second half kick in is like everything just starts to slow down. Bass seems like he kind of focusing on what the real story is about, which is relationship between Elvis and Tom. It's like, all right, yeah, slow down, Baz. Like, I understand you like visuals and you like to like stuff it down people's throat, but dog, just slow down and tell your story. And that's when the story started to pick up for me, and that's when I felt it, especially in the end where, yes, surprise, surprise, Elvis died at age 42, and it was sad the way how he went out to it. But yeah, at the end of it all, not I didn't love the show. I didn't hate it, but yeah, the first half was god awful in my opinion. Like it was to the point I just wanted to just stop the show altogether, stop watching it altogether. But somewhere after the middle half, it's like yeah, like sorry, the second half. That's when things started to slow down and started to make a lot of sense. It started like it wasn't like hammy, it wasn't over dramatic, it wasn't super stylized, it wasn't trying so hard to cater to younger audiences and whatnot. It just took its time, told its story, and yeah, it just worked there. So if you could get past the first half, I guarantee you will appreciate the film as is. But if you can't get past the first half, boy, well, I don't blame you. But if you actually appreciate the whole thing, cool for you. I guess that this particular Baz Luhrmann show works for you, right? But as for me, I honestly I don't see myself watching this again in a hurry. If it gets nominated for something, like if Austin get nominated for Best Actor, that'll be cool. Honestly, I don't think he'll win. And believe me, this is not a show I'm gonna be remembering by years, and to be honest. But if it show up on a best of, that's cool. If it show up on a worst of, I wouldn't be surprised either, right? So rating wise, because I hated the first half and I kind of like the second half, I have to kind of give this a 2.5 out of 5, which is equivalent to a 5 out of 10. See it if you want to. If this is for you, then it's for you. But if it's not, then yeah, you don't need to see it. But didn't need Bass to kind of go out of his way to let people know, oh, Elvis influenced hip hop, because that didn't work. That's not true, right? Because I mean, what other reason would you have hip hop in this show if that's not the case? I forgot to mention too. There's even a couple of moments, right, where they reference, I think it's either Backstreet Boys or Britney Spears. I'm not gonna say what song it is, right? But they actually incorporate the music into like one or two of Elvis's performances, and it was trash. And that was in the first half. It was trash, right? It's just all these efforts to like tie the film into like contemporary music and make it all meta. None of that shit worked for me, right? But when it was focused, when it was really telling its story, when it was showing that downfall of Elvis, and by the way, Austin nailed that downfall very well, I must say, right? That's when the show really clicked for me, man. So yeah, I think I've spoken enough, boy. This was neither here nor there for me personally. I probably wouldn't remember this in about 2-3 days from now or whatnot. But if you're really curious to see it, go see it. So keeping with music now for a little bit now. Let's talk about Woodstock '99 for a bit, boy. And in particular, let's talk about the documentary that just dropped on Netflix called Trainwreck Woodstock '99, right? So, Ricardo, if you don't mind, I just want you to do the synopsis for this, right? But before we begin, right? So, I would say, first off, I would say there was a documentary that you Ricardo remind me of called Woodstock '99: Peace, Love, and Rage, right? I
Yeah.
actually checked that out right after watching Trainwreck, right? And I'll talk about the comparisons between the two in a bit, right? But I was like marginally familiar with the events of Woodstock '99. But I just knew that it was a disaster. That's all I knew, right?
Right. Right.
But I didn't know the full details about it until watching this Netflix doc, by. And it's so funny too because I'll never forget. I can't remember what year it was. I think it was in the early 2000s or something like that. Believe it or not, Trinidad tried to do its own Woodstock.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and I believe it was called just like Woodstock. It was not
So was it the
the.
same brand of people? Were it the same because it's like a not license named?
I know, but it wasn't from the people who organized
Okay.
the legendary Woodstock event of '69 or the sorry, I shouldn't say ill-fated. That's for '99. The kind of failure that was Woodstock '94, right? Which
Right.
which at least the people behind the scenes learned a lesson from, and then they kind of incorporated into
I,
'99, right? But no,
I don't
this was
think.
just something that some trainees came up with, decided to
Okay. Okay.
do. They hired some rock acts that was big in the
Okay.
dance back then.
Okay.
But I don't think anybody went it, so it was like a huge bust. But I never forgot that it actually did happen, right?
Right.
I don't know if it was supposed to be inspired from '99 or whatever, but like seeing how '99 played out, I was like, really? Oh, they really want to do this down here? But yeah, anyway, so me going into this film, I was pretty much taught about how much of a dumpster fire '99 was, but like just all the bad mistakes that they made, but and
Right.
yeah, how it resonates today, right? So yeah, Ricardo, take it away. Trainwreck, what was it about?
Yeah. Well, you kind of covered the Woodstock 1999. So the very legendary um rock concert, feel good event of the decade 1969's Woodstock. Uh, right. It covers a conceit of you know, challenging the Vietnam War and whatnot. So we decided to do it back over in 25 years in Woodstock 94. And people say it was a failure, but I actually thought Woodstock 94 was actually pretty good for what it was trying to do and thing. But the reason why they failed in their eyes is because they didn't make money, right? So they decided to, quote unquote, avoid that mistake by controlling the situation a lot more from before in Woodstock 1999. And that is the beginning of the end. And it starts off okay. Like they have all the acts. They kind of try to control the thing. They get I forget they get a old air base, I think, to run the events, to say, oh well, we don't have to pay for anything in terms of infrastructure or whatnot. And yeah, then they made literally all the mistakes you make with a concert like this, which is trying to control things you shouldn't control and whatnot. And that's why it devolved from there. And yeah, I actually really like this documentary. I don't like it as much as the HBO version. The HBO one I thought was a little better, but this was pretty good too. It does a great job of just contextualizing, just my generation of music fan. I was like what 14 or 15 when this was out. Um, yeah, just the idea of just being wild as hell, no control, no behavior, and just things just melting down in all the worst ways. And it's just the whole thing about it, I think, is the big failure of it is just the whole pass in the buck of Woodstock. Just these people just absolutely refuse to take fucking responsibility for the simplest things now. And then when things go wrong, is go wrong hard now. But that's about it. I like this documentary, but I didn't like it as much as the HBO version. I'm glad I watched the HBO version instead of this one after. Because this one, the HBO version, I think, does a better job of contextualizing the situation. And what it does, what I liked, that in the HBO version, it actually kind of doesn't lionize the 1969 Woodstock. The 1969 Woodstock was kind of trash too in its own way. It's just it have that one documentary that make it look great and lionize it in an interesting way. But that's about it. Yeah, so that's just me about it. Like you can start there. Asha, did you watch this? Mm.
Dog, here what I do on this. All right, you wanna count it down? And I'll tell you what my thoughts are.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, you go ahead.
All right.
I'll come in last. You go ahead.
So here my thing about Woodstock, yeah. that thing was so disgusting. And I feel like that's what turned me off festivals, music festivals. Because honestly, bro, these people, and they show you in the documentary, was swimming in shit.
Yeah, I mean,
Shit
it was
on
just
Oh, that was funny.
it was yeah, it was absolutely like everybody again. Just the passing of the buck. So they, for I understand, just simple like infrastructure things, nobody wanted to do because like nobody was getting paid at least at that point in time. Because remember they couldn't even pay James Brown in the beginning. Now. So the logic is that well, you know, if none of the money up and run, we ain't doing shit. Literally in this case, they ain't want to do anything with shit. But that was kind of weird though. Like it's like nobody that had any forethought in our infrastructure. Like, why did you fuck that up so readily? Anyway, yeah.
And you know what? Another thing I could say is that happened in '99, correct?
Yeah.
Yo, I use this term very loosely, right? I say it when I mean foreign people. For white people, real different, boy. I don't
I
understand.
know, right?
I don't understand, bro. I don't know. Yo, how you gonna watch Sheryl Crow on stage and what? Yeah, what? Show me your tits.
Yeah,
As he
it's a
Yo,
cannot
weird
boy,
thing.
that's
start.
real disrespect, Jay. Like, Sheryl
You
Crow
understand?
make some great jams in the 90s,
Yeah,
bro. Like,
I'm
I used to do
pelting
that.
shit at Jewel. You
Yeah, it
understand?
was
You're
weird.
pelting shit at Jewel. I mean, Jewel was shit, but I mean, like, come on.
Yeah.
Let's not throw
Hey,
actual
Jewel
shit
had a
at
couple of
somebody.
bops. She had a couple of bops.
And
Yeah,
she had
but
your thing.
Couple.
She had your time.
never for me. Never my style of music. But still, nonetheless, boy, this documentary shows you what happens when poor planning
Yeah, man.
and I'll say chaotic youth get together. You understand?
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. I knew this was a factor. Woodstock had a lot of drugs going on. It had a lot of things going on. It have a lot of people that don't speak about what happened at Woodstock to them because it's a source of shame. And they kind of cover that. But I feel like the numbers that they report in the documentary was greatly underrepresented.
Yeah, of
You
course, definitely.
understand?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to anything dealing with SA,
Yeah. Nah.
especially.
Yeah, no,
You
yeah. Like
understand?
it was ridiculous. Like, but the thing is, again, like how it is again, everything is about passing the buck. I forget the guy's name, but it was the older dude, the bald one now. I forget the
Yo,
guy's
he is such a weirdo. Like every time
yeah,
he was on camera, I was like, this man lies to
yeah,
himself on a daily basis.
yeah, he
This is
weird.
what, yeah, I was like, this is what a delusional person this sound like. Like this guy right here.
He was the one
And
who's he was the one who's boasting about
yeah, like
the James
everything
Brown,
was
the
so
James
good,
Brown thing.
guys. Everything's going
Yeah, I
great.
know you're talking about.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah,
I think it was John Shear or John Shear or something like that.
I
John
forget
I,
Shea, yeah.
yeah,
SCHEWER, I think it is. Yeah.
right.
right. And the Michael Lang dude, boy, he was our next freakazoid horse. I feel
Yes.
he had to be on some predator list somewhere, boy. He had to be
Well, he
on
died,
like,
He actually
did
died,
he?
Yeah, he died early this year.
Yeah,
R.I.P. No
they say
one
that at the
cares,
end
horse.
of the last
Yeah.
episode. Like, that was the
Yeah.
last
Yeah,
interviewee.
he
I love how
died
they
in
did
there.
that, by the way. It literally ended the show with him. Yeah.
Right, but that dude, like, okay, so you could see, like, that old footage of him back in the old Woodstock, where he just so cool as a cucumber kind of person, and yeah, like people like that, Judd, you could tell. Yeah, the thing with people like that is not that they're terrible or anything like that, but like you could tell that it are people who you'll just get away with nonsense. No, that how it come
Yo,
across like to me. He's a man who the reason why he's so cool is that even if everything collapses, I don't have to take blame for this or this not gonna fall back on me. That's how it feel. That's how
that
people like
man,
that come
he remind
across.
me of somebody I know so much for that same reason. I was like, yo, this man could just do whatever, and somehow things working out for
That's
him
why it have
to
people
not
like okay,
go down.
exactly. And there are people who, you're wondering, it are people who could be calm under pressure, but they take real responsibility. As opposed to a person just completely like just, just don't react at all to anything. You just like whatever. You don't get vexed.
No, he just have this like dumb smile on his face,
all the
and
time.
when things
Right.
get bad, the smile gets wider.
Right. He'll just be like, yeah, whatever, fuck it. Like he's really come across like that type of person. And he gets something that was a big deal. It's again, to me, the Woodstock thing is a weird. As I say, I don't consider '94 a failure, but '94, the reason why '94 succeeded is because it failed in their eyes. Because like it what do you call it? It a bunch of people get in that wasn't supposed to get in, and that kind of nonsense now. And yeah, that's how it was. They decided to make money in the dumbest way. And look, again, we live in the capitalist hellscape, right? It's fine. You had to make your money, but Dread, You know you could do this in like a much more intelligent way. Don't try to nickel and dime people who are fucking water bottles. Like, are you serious? That is like
All right, so here's
Dog,
my here's my thing. Right?
$8 for a bottle of water. I was like,
Right.
No, but it's like
And that's back in
this-
'99.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's
right.
back in '99.
And just like that's
But-
okay. That's from a project management standpoint. That's like just like if I was to do this, what I would have do instead, kind of thing. Bro, just like make it a telethon. Like do it like Live Aid. What the fuck? You know, make people pay for the tickets. That is what people will pay for. Fine. And then just do a telethon thing because they had the pay-per-view thing. So they could have just make it like a telethon and they say, look, you have a vague conceit of like they were trying to do something involving with this Columbine now. Like lean into that. So you make it like a Live Aid thing. Do not make people pay for things that they need. You see that shit where people feeling trapped? That just piss people off faster than anything else, right? And I mean, just do literally the absolute worst thing when it comes to that, right? Total nonsense. It's weird. It is real fucking weird, right?
Bro, it's not even that, you know. I mean, I've been around people in the live events industry, music industry, especially concerts, right? And their thinking is that they just want to throw the best event and get their name as hyped as possible so they could do anything now. So the next time Michael Lang call you and tell you to go on a show, you'll go without asking him for a payment now.
Exactly.
You understand?
Right.
And that's what they're trying to do. But I've seen it, boy. I've seen the failure of show business. So like I'm very, very close to that. Right. I ain't gonna go into too much details, but I've seen the ruin of show business, like that side of life. And it's a terrible thing, you know, because people get addicted to the lifestyle of, oh boy, we're gonna entertain these people and we're gonna make so much money. And I love seeing musical acts, you know. I've seen that shit destroy our family.
But they run it bad because so I don't talk about the HBO documentary because I thought that did a better job of contextualizing everything. Mostly they had a great like talking head as Moby. Moby as talking head was great. Like he had a great little sequence explaining the vibe. He just straight up say, look, I doing this for a long time, and when I got there, the vibe was off. And he was right. Like it's not the same like conceit of what you think Woodstock should be. They should not call it Woodstock. It wasn't like they had the wrong acts because they get just the energy was off. So look, I remember Korn and Limp Bizkit and their men, but like they don't really belong in Woodstock. That kind of weird, right?
I know, yeah.
Even though like I remember Korn was real vibes. Like back in the days, Korn was real vibes. I thought Korn was vibes. They had a real dread energy. Freaking Alicia's a big hit at the time. You know, they was doing their thing, right? Limp Bizkit, you know, for all the problems they might have with them, and Kid Rock for all the problems they might have with them at back now one thing. They were real vibes for what they were, right? But it was just weird to have that mix up in the acts now. That's another weird decision. Why is it that they had the acts mixed up in these weird ways?
Yeah.
What? Like why put them with this and put this with that?
Dog, they had me at Willie Nelson on a Sunday morning, and then like at the very end they had Red Hot Chili Peppers, which included Flea, who was naked, a buck-ass naked shit. I was like, what?
It's weird decisions. It's weird decisions. Again, when it comes to like monitoring the situation, controlling the situation, utter goofiness. And it's only when literally, oh god, that part with the candles is still crack me up. Cause like, jeez, literally give people an open flame, buddy. Are you serious, right? Like I know what they're trying to go for. I know what they're trying to go for because it's the what do you call it? The vigil thing now.
Yeah, vigil for the victims of Columbine. Yeah.
Yeah, but still though, God man. Yeah, like common sense, right? And that's what it is. You could tell it's just a big, again, a bunch of assholes who absolutely refuse to take responsibility for anything. Because they had to make money at all costs, blah blah blah. And then just when the chain of commanders fall apart, it's fall apart hard. And it's really interesting to watch that play out. And again, another thing too is the audience. The audience is this, you know, they make a good comparison to Fight Club. That make a lot of sense. You know, the late 90s, early millennials, those Gen Xers, when Gen Xers were getting into college, so it's the younger Gen Xer types. People who I would say like about 5 or 6 years older than us, right? Yeah, they were kind of the rebels out of Clue generation, right? They didn't really have anything to reference or thing. 9/11 didn't happen yet. They didn't have to think about the world. They weren't woke yet or anything like that. They had nothing. They had nothing to reference in any workable sense. And it was really interesting to see, like, that is one guy who was just pissed off that they had too much Backstreet Boys on MTV. Like, that kind of bullshit to study in there.
Oh, and funny thing, that actually showed up in the HBO doc, by the way, that same clip.
Same, right, yeah. They use, I think the HBO got more footage for clips from I understand. because like they had this one part where the girl, this girl from MTV, I forget her name, the one who looking still fine herself.
Oh, what is it? I think it's not Amanda or Ananda or something like
Ananda
that. But
Lewis.
Amanda, right?
yeah.
Ananda Lewis.
Ananda Lewis,
Yo,
right?
she looks good.
Yeah, she's still
I
looking good.
know, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, she had a clip where she mentioned the line, but then they actually showed the clip in the HBO doc. So like, all right, they like the HBO, like they spend a little more money in to get clips now, because that would be like the big expensive thing about documentaries. Like they had to pay MTV for how much money for this amount of cash for this amount of clip or whatever it is. Normal documentary thing if you're trying to make a documentary. But yeah, that whole framing the conceit and just that whole generation of they just have nothing. Like they're just angry, but they have nowhere to go. And again, Fight Club is a perfect analogy for the whole thing. It was interesting to see that play out in this whole thing. Like just people angry for bullshit, but at the same time, they have legit reasons to be angry. And the reason why I also prefer the HBO documentary is that 1999 was the first year of another music festival, Coachella, right?
Yep.
It was the first Coachella, and like Coachella is now mega famous. That is the one that we think of when you think about music festivals. I don't think Coachella perfect or anything like that, but chalk and cheese, right? Complete chalk and cheese. Woodstock is a fascinating paradigm. Like it's an interesting thing that this dude just didn't know what he had on his hands, and he just absolutely just let burn to the ground for no good goddamn reason. And talk about as they say when they say just fuck it. Fuck it, we'll do it live. That man was a fuck it, we'll do it live, Joe. That man just did not care.
Yeah.
That man just did not give a shit about that. And study among the people was there. When they okay, quick question. When is Carnival Sunday, right? The March Gras. How much people has been in North Stand and Grandstand together? Total. That'd be like what? 50,000, whatever.
About, I think.
Right, I don't know. I don't know what's the total number, but like it's a lot. It's like probably some of the biggest gatherings in Trinidad period, right? Studying was 200,000 people there plus in a crowd, That is like it absolutely insane though. Like
for 3 days,
for 3 days on a hot tarmac, right? Mm-hmm. On a hot tarmac. Ah boy, I mean it's really fascinating how this whole thing imploded in the way it did. But it's just the mindset. It's a strange time. I make a joke. I say, well, I was watching this with my little cousin, and I was feeling like Bill Cobb's character from Demolition Man. Watching this, like, look, I had to tell him, yeah, that's how it fucking was, Joe. Like, it had people who just didn't give a fuck. And yeah, it's a white person together. It was a total white people together. It's just a bunch of white dudes. Because I only see it in the crowd. There's a bunch of white dudes with no shirt and a backward baseball cap. I only see it, right? But at the same time, like, it was so comically apocalyptic, though. Just watching this thing.
I know, boy.
Rating this, I'd say if it wasn't for the HBO doc, I would have rated this a little higher. But the HBO doc just does, in my opinion, overall a better job. Not much better, but overall better job. But so this, I'll give this about a 7 out of 10, closer to a 6. I felt they could have been a little more comprehensive. It felt a little rushed. I really felt they could have done a better job framing it in terms of the days or how the conceits were. But I get the feeling they kind of run out of money in terms of making it. Again, just getting clips from MTV back in 20 years ago is expensive. Like you had to pay Time Warner or whoever it is, normal bullshit, right? Or whoever massive corporation own your clips now, right? That's about it. But I still enjoyed it. It's very good. But I felt they could have done better in contextualizing the situation. That's about it for me.
All right. Well, before I get to my opinion on the show, Ashton, what was your rating?
What's my rating?
What is your rating?
Oh, I would say 4.5 flip porta potties out of 5.
I like that. Oh, okay. So you read that real high, man. Okay. Well, to close things off, right? I don't have it as high as you, Ashton, but just to get this out of the way, I am giving this a strong 8. Well, I should say 8 out of 10 in my case, 4 to 5, right? So just to compare to the HBO documentary, right? What the HBO doc does so well is really, and this is like a smart call in terms of having Moby of all people, who I didn't even know was in the lineup to begin with, right? Really talk about the culture and the music and all that kind of stuff, really stressing it, right? Because I love how that HBO doc pretty much talked about, well, the acts themselves and the lyrics and how it was a reflection of the times and all that kind of stuff. Like it really showed how it was against the peace, love and stuff with Woodstock 69. Like it just made no sense having acts like Korn and Limp Bizkit and oh gosh, Kid Rock, right?
Right.
Red Hot Chili Peppers could get a pass, right? But
Correct.
not those last three, right? So I love, like, for example, how there was this one particular woman who was talking about who was stressing on, just the exploitation of women back then, right? Show us your tits and all that kind of stuff, and then to the
Right.
point that the woman was just like, fuck it, let's just do it, right? How they zero in on that was great. I also love the fact that there was this black guy who's talking about DMX's presence in it, right? Because I
Right.
see him in the lineup in the Netflix doc.
Right.
I'll look it up for DMX. Like, where DMX? Where
Yeah, it didn't
DMX
happen,
at? Right? It didn't show. But the HBO one it show, and then he
Yeah.
performed this the song basically is My Niggas.
Yeah.
But when you look at the crowd, there's a bunch of white people in
Yeah.
saying My Niggas.
Yeah.
And how he explained that is like, yeah, this make a lot of sense. Like, this works, right? So it get points in terms of just showing a reflection of the time and how toxic it was back then, right? It's amazing that both shows reference Fight Club to the point that it literally lived the scene clip. I thought that was
Yeah.
really nice, right? But what I will give Trainwreck credit for, though, is that even though it doesn't go full into detail, boy, what it does so well is builds tension, boy, because, like, just from the end of episode 1, boy, you just know shit gonna hit the fan, right? Like, literally, boy, and it builds it.
And
then when
the water table.
yeah, exactly. And then when episode 3 dropped, boy, it was literally the fall of Rome. And it's so funny, look at it now, that it was set in Rome, New York. It's like,
Right.
what?
Right. Yeah,
So
right.
just seeing everything play out, but like, it just builds it like, oh, it's just this bacchanalia of just debauchery and just drug using and sex and all that kind of stuff, boy. And then 3, everything just falls, boy, and it's fire and it's chaos, boy. And it just builds that tension so well, boy. So yeah, in the 3rd episode, I was feeling like that tension, but it just kind of just explodes. So yeah, that's what it nails so well, though. You're right, though, Ricardo. The HBO doc does do a lot, like, in terms of just contextualizing, the event and whatnot. And it does that so well in, like, less than 2 hours. But this show,
Right.
well, together, this docu-series is like 2.5 hours, right? It just more talks about it. It just, for me, which is why I appreciate it too. It feels like you just see this powder keg, right? And you just watching this fuse just being lit, and just going, tss, and you just watching this run, like you're watching like the intro to Mission Possible or something like that, right?
Yeah.
You just waiting for the explosion, boom, and then when the explosion hit, boy, it's like, oh yeah, this is rough, right? So I would say that both shows work independent of each other. I wouldn't say that the HBO doc is like the best, the better of the two, but I think that they both work individually, right? But just to
Right.
touch on Trainwreck here, I think that it is a piece, and this is where the show totally shines. So, like, you just really see how the events play out, and just boom, 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 and then it hits you, right? The performances, like, this was the first time I'm seeing these performances, right? Let us start down, so like, with Wyclef Jean, for example, who's replicating the Jimi Hendrix rendition of the Star Spangled Banner, right, where he burns the guitar, right?
Right,
So he does
right.
that shit, right? Well, he burns it and he smashes it, right? He does that, right? And it's so funny that while Wyclef doing this, right, you just seeing bottles like just flying in the air, right? Just like, what?
Yeah,
And
well,
I feel like it's so ironic that Wyclef do this. Like, like, he just kind of went to, like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pay tribute to one of my heroes. But dog, they kind of disrespected me, just so fuck y'all. Like, I gotta do this.
Yeah, it's a complete wrong crowd. That's the whole point. Like,
Yes.
because again, if they didn't have those acts, right? If, let's say, they didn't have Korn, they didn't have Limp Bizkit, and they didn't have Kid Rock, whatever. Those kids came to see those guys.
Yes.
Just don't call it Woodstock, That is all. Like, if you didn't call it Woodstock, and decided to just do this thing, and then move around who should be in it. But it was discordant now. It's a bunch of people just don't know. It's not mixing at all. Like, so you get a crowd who just don't appreciate the reference. Now, there are a whole bunch of references to the old Woodstock in it. Nobody get it.
The HBO doc had a great moment where it's like, who was the guy who played the guitar and burnt it? And literally the answer is pre-painted on a wall behind the man. The man's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, exactly.
That.
Yeah, there's a whole crowd of children who don't understand that shit. Like, they just don't get that, and it's a tidy crowd. That is it. However.
Yeah, and the mere fact there's a Haitian who do this performance is brilliant, right? To touch on Korn, by
Oh, yeah, right.
for the win hurts.
Right.
That's what's a corn for the win, Jay. Like,
Yeah.
plus, that performance, Jonathan Davis and
Was hard.
his bandu was fucking hard.
Yeah,
Like,
it was hard.
my God.
The
Like,
corn was
I
hard,
have
though.
never
Like, I
seen
find that
this
was real hard.
before. No, as a band, they would dread it.
Yeah.
But, like, I never in my life see a crowd move in waves to, like, just, to just a guitar chord, boy.
Yeah.
And it was insane. And I saw this thing twice, both on the Netflix and the HBO versions, but I was seeing it for the first time. My jaw dropped. I was like, all right, corn for the win, all they had, right? When Limp Bizkit tried to do the same thing,
Yeah.
it's how people went nuts, man. I mean, we just laugh at Limp Bizkit now and whatnot, no, but back then it was like, yeah, did you shit? But I will say this much though, well, at least in Korn's favor, Jonathan Davis was like, yo, I was just digging the energy, but it was to the point that I literally drop on stage and they had to bring me back, and that's what they say.
Another mistake they had was what's this guy boy? The guy who did Fatboy Slim.
Fatboy Slim, yeah. They put him in the Reeve section.
Right. That's another thing.
Korn, right?
That's
after
another
Korn
thing.
performance.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's again, you see how discordant the whole thing is. You had to have the vibe, unless you have the same style of music right through. That's fine. But you had to know how to put in the vibe, because you'll mess up the vibe. You'll have a bunch of people you come in and then you come in a different vibe entirely, a different tempo, different genre, and I just everything out of timing. That's all the problem with the concert. Everything is just out of timing. They try to cover everybody's bases and think, well, music is music now. Like, that's not how this is work, Jared.
Yeah,
like, just common sense. And I'm not saying anything interesting, like if it's some kind of big project management thing. This shit that people know in concert design for ages. Long before, since the 80s, since the 70s, they didn't really understood this. So I don't understand how the men just, like, them men, again, they cut corners, and everything is a profit and a save money. So I get the feeling like somebody who they could hire would have tell them, hey, you're fucking this up, you're doing this, you're messing that up there, that know how that'll go there. That person just didn't get hired, right? And them just take that cash and pocket it, right? And then big people pay $8 for a bottle of water, right? That's how that whole thing come across. Men, just tell yourself, watch now, we're gonna make this the cheapest fucking possible way we could do it. We gotta make money for whatever reason. Like, it's unbelievable, because to me, it have ways to make money. Look. Let us get to the moral of it. Ignore the morals. Let us talk about from a pure utilitarian, this have to make money thing. Even if you're watching it from that, they're still pissing you off. They're still doing shit. That's what I hate about this, Dread. I hate this kind of mind. It have a word for it. It's called low cunning, where as a person think they're smart, but they're doing the dumbest fucking shit ever. And the only reason that they're getting away with it is because they're privileged in some way. That's the only reason they get away with the shit. But like if it was any other situation, they would get their ass washed. Like, well, speaking of that, they have a good point about, well, if it was such a black chair and them police was coming on hard on them, right? There are little things like that, right?
Of course,
it's just the enabling of it. However, this bullshit happened over 20 years ago. I don't know why I get mad over it.
You get mad over it. No, but it really is fascinating, right? But I think if I'm not mistaken, Moby went to that same Reeve section after Korn, but they really zero in on Fatboy Slim, and even he himself was watching the vibe. There was some incidents that took place, like that was like leaning towards sexual assault, and I was like, nah, I need to get out of here. But like he wasn't feeling the vibe now, you know what I mean? Like he coming from that Reeve crowd. Think about that, right? But Limp Bizkit though, I point the finger at Mr. Fred Durst though, because like where he came in the middle of it all. So people done tired, they pissed, they fed up with the heat and whatnot, the water, the shit, all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. And he come in like, you have all this pent up rage, man. You just need to get the fuck out, man. I forget the name of the song, right? And we expect people to do so. I'm sorry to say, he's one of the big instigators, Red. I love this sector where they're like, I still think that Limp Bizkit shouldn't have said these things, but it's Limp Bizkit. That's the thing. It's what they do. That's what they music is about. They didn't want to sing Nookie, bro. Like, think about that.
Exactly. I don't blame them. It's like whoever, but they wild it up. They stop the Hornets' nest. To be fair, because he just want to tell Lisa, watch now. I can chill this out or not. And my boy decide to choose violence. Yeah, so
right. But the Sunday now, I just find it so funny. Now, if there's one thing that I wish that the Netflix thing did is that at least in the HBO one they zero in on this non-profit organization, right? That
Right.
was that they were the ones who was sharing all the candles now, to
Right.
do the vigil, right? But they just say, oh, somebody gave candles out and they didn't know who, right? They
Yeah.
just kind of glossed it over, right? But yeah, so candles were passed, and then when Red Hot Chili Peppers, who closed the
Right.
show,
Yeah.
they think fire start taking place, and then afterwards,
This is the song they play.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, where it was where
Jimmy Hendrix.
fire from fire like my fire from the Doors, where I was like, wow,
The door, right? Okay, yeah, thank you. Right.
wow, and to the point that people was like, give us more. It's like, no, let me just show a clip of Jimi Hendrix doing this thing. Everybody's like, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
And chaos took place, boy, and I don't blame them. Like on first glance, you can kind of watch them like, dog, are they like real entitled, Dread? Like, why are they acting up like this? But no, Dread, it's 3 days of this shit that they had to put up with. So at some point in time, somebody was gonna do some shit. Even early on, I think Sunday morning, they break down the wall that this piece of love wall that they went on their way to look good. It's like, nah, people was tired.
What happened is that people would leave. Like, if it wasn't for people was gonna leave like by Sunday morning, even Saturday night. I'm sure people would leave if they didn't think. And then I forget what happened, but somebody spread a rumor saying it's going to have something big at the end. So it would wait. With the wait, and people saying, oh, it's gonna be somebody real big, somebody huge at the time, so it'll be Michael Jackson or Prince or somebody like that. And nah, there's nobody. There's nothing.
There's nobody. Yeah,
that's when it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we could talk for days about this though, but yeah, this is such a fascinating failure. That's all I'll say. But yeah, this Netflix docu-series really got it, but you really, well, like I say again, what it gets so well is the tension, but it builds that so well, man, right? But I will say, if you can seek out the HBO doc as well. I literally watched that like a few hours after watching this because I was so fascinated by this subject matter now. What I'll say in closing is that it's so funny that this well, at least this Netflix docu-series is released like a mere months after what happened with Travis Scott and Astroworld, right? That debacle, right? So you can look at that now and draw parallels from it, right? But yeah, this is something that I hope a lot of people learn a lot of lessons from. Similar to like that Fire Fest. We got 2 docs out of from both Netflix and Hulu. Yeah, it's one of those fascinating feelings you really had to like learn a lot. You will learn a lot from.
The Travis Scott thing is a kind of weird one because what happens is that they didn't take into account, what you call, well, you literally have to apply fluid mechanics to this, where audiences have to move, and you have to understand that now. You have to give audiences sway now. So it was a failure in that sense, because there's I think it had a Live Aid or one of them European, some German thing that had a similar thing where way more people dead, where it's something they just don't take into account. It's kind of like why traffic don't flow. The same reason. It's stuff like that now. So it's all these little tech. So the Travis Scott thing was bad, but it's not this level of failure. Like, I don't think there's comparison. That's like a weird engineering problem that's pop up. This, them just fucked up. Like, just fucked up.
Yeah. The people behind the scenes had no clue what they were doing. To have Sheryl Crow perform either before, and I didn't even know like Alanis Morissette was there too. I learned that in the HBO doctorate, right?
To have them be along. Right. They just wanted to make money, and in the dumbest way. In a dumb way. That is my problem. Look, you can make your money, because Coachella making the money, Coachella don't make money. Coachella make money, but Coachella is well organized. They know this shit. Come on, man.
Exactly.
Common sense.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, folks, this is an absolute must-see. I enjoy literally the hell out of this. So rating-wise, like I said before, I'm going with an 8 out of 10 for this one, or I should say, strong 4 to 5. I had a lot of fun with this, though, even though, like I say, it's just that tension build, this really got to my skin, right? But yeah, again, like I said, this, you should definitely check out Trainwreck, and then also, if you can, check out, Peace, Love, and Rage. That's the HBO doc, right? So yeah, Woodstock 99, but we, really worth checking out and really worth learning a lot of lessons from that.